Hi, beautiful people. It's a beautiful morning here. I'm very slightly hungover, but I just really haven't felt inspired to make a video in a long time. And I was thinking this week and have brought up several times this week the idea of filing your tax return as an act of self-care. And it seems like it's really like resonated and hit something in people when I've talked about it. So I wanted to kind of offer it to a larger group of people. And I was also doubly inspired because when I was at the bar last night, I ran into a friend slash client, that's the word. And they were just like, is everyone saying they just don't want to pay taxes this year? And I'm like, people, I want to normalize that for everyone. Like, no one ever really wants to pay taxes, and no like radical people really ever want to pay taxes to the US government, mostly. But there's just something this year, like right now, about that physical act of sending money to the US government that is feeling really appalling to people. And if that feels appalling to you, I want to totally normalize that. It's really like how folks are feeling. And I just want to offer like that completely sucks. I want to hold that on one hand as being like 100% true, so legitimate and really righteous, you know? And on the other hand, to say not filing your tax return is because the way the system is structured, not filing your tax return is ultimately only going to cause you anxiety, stress, future financial pain, etc. So basically, first of all, if you're a W 2 filer, if you get a W 2, you're an employee, and that's pretty much your only situation, you should just go ahead and file because a lot of times you're going to be getting money back that was already taken out of your check. So the way that you are actually going to pay less money to the US government is by filing and getting back any like excess money that you've already filed. Every year, every year I end up filing, people's back tax returns, and there's always a year where it's like, oh, you just had a W 2, and if you had filed the year of, you would have got like $380 back, or, whatever it is. But now that it's been more than 3 years, you're not going to get the money back. So basically, not filing if you're an employee and you're having wages taken out of your check is often a way to end up giving more money to the government. Okay. If you are self-employed, filing your tax return is going to help you on time, is going to help you maximize your deductions, get a clearer picture of what's going on, be able to really like take the time and attention on the return that it deserves in order to like get it done in the way that's the most beneficial to you. So, when you go back and do back taxes, a lot of times there's this feeling of just kind of like, I just got to get this done. I'm going to gloss over it. I can't like dig too hard into the deductions, things that could lower your taxes. And often it's too long ago to even remember, like, oh yeah, I probably had some other expenses, but like I can't even remember, and basically just like, forget about it. So doing your taxes on time is going to help you keep in touch with that information in the most accurate way. And it's going to just take that stress off of your shoulders. And if you file late, what is going to end up happening is you're going to start owing penalties, right? Like interest, failure to file penalty, and failure to pay penalty. Those are going to start amassing monthly on the amount of money that you owe the government. So basically, all that's going to happen from not filing is you're going to start owing the government more and more money. And eventually, you're going to have to pay them more money than you would have if you had filed on time. So basically, I was saying like filing on time is really going to help you maximize your deductions. Having a good bookkeeping system is actually going to help you maximize your deductions, because that means like when you're checking in with your expenses that you can deduct off your taxes, aka pay less money to the government on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and not pushing it to quarterly or yearly. You're going to be much more attuned to getting like all those little things that you forgot about, like, oh, parking, or little bits and pieces that you bought, or like a meal that you had that actually was a legitimate business meal, but just got kind of like lumped into your personal expenses. All of those things you want to like push, as far as you legally can, this year, next year, the year after that, the year after that, right? So we're in 2017, it's February. It's an excellent time to get a great bookkeeping system together if you run your own business, you're self-employed, independent contractor, for this year, and start collecting those expenses. Bookkeeping is your friend. It's going to help you pay less money to the government. Receipts are your friend. If you get audited, having those receipts and not just the line items in your bank statement is going to help you stand strong in your position of paying less money to the government. Tracking your mileage is your friend, because in the long run, mileage adds up. And a lot of times people feel like they don't drive very much for work, but maybe, over the course of the year, you go to Office Max a few times, or you take your products out and like pitch them to some stores, or you drive to take a workshop, every weekend for 4 weeks or something like that. And, it's a deduction. It helps you pay less money to the government. And that's what we're all going for this year. Being in debt to the government can really put you, and then you as a part of your larger community, in a weaker, less autonomous position. So just don't go there. The desire is strong, or do what you want, right? It's like, I'm really not trying to tell anyone what to do, but I just want to put out one perspective. And this is the perspective that I have right now, because I don't want people to end up paying more and more money, feeling more and more stressed, more and more like of this underlying anxiety around money that really eats people away, gets you like anxious, which can lead to, being shut down, overwhelmed, which can lead to inaction, which leads to you not being able to go out and function in the world and show up and do the work with the world, for the world, with your community, for your communities, the way that you truly, have the gifts and the presence to do. So anyway, that's my little piece on taxes as self-care, filing your tax return as an act of self-care. Do it right, maximize your deductions, just make sure it's accurate. Don't let the government get more money than they need. And I'm a little bit this year, like, don't let H&R Block or Intuit, which is TurboTax, get more money than they need. They've got some powerful lobbying forces in the government, and, that's a whole nother story. So have a good one. Again, I'm Jessie Susanna, the Money Witch, and thanks for hanging out. Bye.